Television, where your health has a voice.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Inikpi of Igala land. She's such an intriguing historical figure. Inikpi was a princess and a priestess from the Igala kingdom, which is currently located in the present-day Nigeria. Her story is one of sacrifice and loyalty. Legend has it that during the 16th century, the Igala kingdom was under threat from the neighboring kingdom of Jukun. Inikpi, in an act of immense bravery, volunteered to be sacrificed to the gods in order to save her people from impending invasion. Inikpi's sacrifice was seen as a selfless act of devotion and love for her kingdom. Her story has been passed down through generations, and she's celebrated as a symbol of courage and sacrifice in Igala culture. To this day, Inikpi's story continues to inspire many, highlighting the strength and resilience of African women in history. Her legacy serves as a reminder of the power of selflessness and the lengths people are willing to go to protect their communities.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not going to the talk, please discuss.
In a world where power shapes with every headline,
In a nation full of questions,
in a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
In a world where power shapes with every headline,
in a nation full of questions,
in a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
My name is Michel Dele. I'm the Consul General of the Netherlands in Lagos. Keep watching VOP, Voice of the People TV.
I'm Sarah Nystrom from Sweden, aka Chief Omobawale, Communication Queen. Keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, I'm Samantha Jacobs, representing the States. Miami's in the house, and I want to make a shout out to VOP TV. I'm a humanitarian, and I'm also a rep in the film industry and the art industry. I help dreams come true, and I help you keep on that path. Shout out to VOP TV because you're helping people stay on their path too. Cheers.
All right, my name is John Odibo. Keep watching Voice of the People because it's a fantastic station to be with all the time. Thank you very much.
My name is Pastor Elvis Siru, the convener of the Voice Achievers Award, and keep watching VOP. Yes, that is the channel for all the people. No color, no race. Thank you so much.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, this is Abbas Sunkan from the Netherlands. I am a designer and I'm here in Eco Hotel and Suits. Keep watching VOP, the Voice of the People. Don't touch that dial.
My name is Dr. Tony Bello. I am the chairman of Shine Bridge Global Incorporated. And guess what? You are watching the Voice of the People television.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People television. Now you have more than a voice.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
It's a beautiful Friday morning, and we'll say good morning and welcome to VOP this morning. Now, this is the morning show. It rained in some parts of Lagos last night, and the weather is very clement. But that's a good omen, if you ask me, and it tells me that this year, the early year rain, it tells me clearly that this year will be a very good year for Nigeria. I tap into that prophecy, and I hope that a lot of people will tap into that prophecy. Well, in the next 1 or 2 hours, in the next 2 hours, to be very clear, we will be discussing very topical political issues here in Nigeria. Recent developments, some of them will make you angry, some of them will make you happy. So you come along with us as we take you through these interesting stories. Now we'll go to Rivers State, where the Assembly has moved to impeach Sim Fubara, the governor, and his deputy, Ngozi Odo. And when we move away from that, Peter Obi and NLC sound alarm as 140 million Nigerians face poverty by December 2026. Now, that's coming from PwC, Price Waterhouse and Coopers. They have predicted that in fact, as a matter of fact, over 141 million Nigerians will face acute poverty by 2026 December if something that is very urgent is not done. And ADC launches constitutional review as APC clashes with Articles Democracy's future. Oh, well, those are the major topics of discussion, but we also have other interesting, trending stories that we are going to talk about. I am Chukwu Okoro, by the way. Once again, good morning and thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us and welcome to the program. I am Moses Humphrey. Now, talking about early rains, I asked myself, did the rains ever stop? We didn't have the Harmattan season. On Boxing Day, it rained.
But at least this year, we always try to make a division between what happened in 2025 and what happened in 2026.
Has it drizzled this year? I think it has. Drizzled.
No, but it drizzled, not rain. The one of last night was heavy. It was heavy rain.
Okay.
And on work, on our way to work this morning, one of my colleagues was like, looks like this climate change is real. I said, climate change is real.
Very real.
Growing up, we used to have Harmattan by early November, and the wind, I think they say it
goes all the way
goes all the way up until middle of January.
Yes.
But all of a sudden, it started receding until it clearly disappeared. Last year, clearly there was no Harmattan. I didn't experience it. I woke up one morning and it became very hazy. And I said, Harmattan has come in, but it fizzled out. Completely. So climate change is real. And I said, so when people gather in Rio de Janeiro, when people gather in Stockholm and discuss climate change, you thought it was talk show or what? It wasn't. It's real.
But the issues around climate change, I don't think, because when you talk about machinery working, emission of gases and all these things depleting the ozone layer, we don't do so much of those machinery work down Africa. It's over there in the Western world, they do a lot more.
Yeah, the people that do more are trying to control Africa, and Africa is asking, how? You are the people that caused this problem now. And recall at a point, Trump said there was nothing like climate change. Because China, you cannot be putting out all of those things, and you are saying America should slow down. No, we are not going to slow down. At a point, he pulled America from one of those summits, I recall. So it's real. Whatever it is, they say it's ozone layer depletion. Now, when I look up, I don't even see the.
You don't see the ozone. It's just there. Oh well. Now let's get into some of the conversations. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has revealed that any public generating to Niger collected $11.57 million. That's over 25 billion naira for electricity supplied under bilateral agreements in the third quarter of 2025. And according to NERC's market report, these three countries were billed $18.69 million, but were only able to remit $7.12 million, leaving a huge deficit that adds to legacy debts from previous quarters. Now, the debt owed to Nigeria's generation companies has sparked outrage among Nigerians who question why Nigeria continues to export electricity despite its own crippling domestic shortages and frequent blackouts and its inability to serve Nigerians. We're talking about our inability to generate enough for our transmitting stations to carry to the discos to distribute and we are selling to neighbors, and they are even owing. And then government government itself in Nigeria is owing the electricity companies, but the ordinary Nigerian who has nobody to fight for him, the one whose meters or whatever we cut off, especially those areas where they don't have paid meters, because lots of people still don't have prepaid meters. I see school officials going around with ladders in some densely populated areas. I don't want to mention names now, but some densely populated areas, you see them carrying ladders, and you see them put the ladders on the pole, and people gather around, tip them a few, maybe 2,000 here, 3,000 there. They make trouble, make noise, they go, because you can't confront them. It's against the law. You try to get physical with them, you get into trouble. You know, so they go, and then a week or 2 weeks later, they come back, but the money is being owed are still there. Now, individuals are owing, the government is owing, but the ordinary Nigerian is the one who's paying for it, who's taking the blow. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Now, I understand that yes, we should sell, we should export, but when we're doing it under bilateral trade or whatever the case may be, we should be getting the monies back. And those monies should be put back into ensuring that the Nigerian person enjoys. I mean, there's nothing the ordinary man benefits really. Some of the things you pay, some of the things that you should be enjoying, you're not even enjoying them. It's horrible.
Very horrible. But well, we have always been told that our analysts tell us that Nigeria is an unusual place, and it plays out in everything around every sector of our national life. Well, life itself is very unfair, so the only thing you have to do is to make it fair for yourself anyhow you can. The only way to predict the future is to determine it today. Now, talk about our neighbor owing electricity operation. All of them. They have understand is about and 7.5 have got was here for pay. They have been like they have to quite often. Yeah, they not the we also the honest if that's right to so we to so have and go use website for natural stuff of us. So that is I don't have a problem if that power the matter that we are not even to take all. So instead of having to waste them, it's better we sell to our boys, to our boys. For also people that can pay, people that they are paying. I'm not making a case for them, but the fact remains that look, I also understand that there was a bilateral arrangement, an agreement before we even started selling these things to us. So it's more like tradables, you give and take. But if it gets to a situation where they now hold us to ransom because if we cut them off, they are going to do something that will affect our own power generation, it becomes a breach of contract, So while we walk through trying to get the money from them, we should also ensure, in fact, we need to build up the power sector. We need to build it up. But I'm happy that TCN has been privatized to the extent that, well, there are two components of TCN now. They should just do, in fact, I don't know. Nobody is asking you to build these equipments. These equipments have been built.
Just buy and install.
As simple as that. So why is it difficult? I also hear that there are some very powerful interests, a cartel, within that sector who wants to ensure that one way or the other, that they keep selling their generators. You imagine when a telecom company has to, they have more than 5,000 base stations and they have to install 2 high kVA generators in those power stations at about 10,000 pieces. We're talking of one telco. and there are about 3 or 4 of them. So if they run the numbers and discover that, look, those powerful interests, just make sure, look, power doesn't become them. Because if it works, they are going to get out of this. To see it because you can't this to move. Something has to get really. Oh well. In has been a compromise the English dictionary sufficient 7 words, including some of the including the well, it's funny how is it our pollution is working in our favor here, because when we use a particular word very often, especially with the advent of social media, we use a particular word very often, it becomes a lingua franca. I mean, it becomes, something language of communication. Yes, it becomes something that the Western world will feel, okay, let's add this. Like, a lot of people use Biko when chatting. I mean, I use Biko. And we know what Biko means. It's from the eastern part of Nigeria, which means please. Please. But Biko has been added to a dictionary, abeg, which is Pidgin English, has been added to the Oxford English Dictionary, and a few other words that, and this is recognizing the global influence of Nigerian street language and also our cuisine. Well, linguists hail the move as a triumph for African identity, showing how everyday Nigerian slang now shapes international English. Well, social media has erupted with pride and humor as Nigerians debate which words best capture the nation's vibrant spirit. Oh well, a lot of these Nigerians are happy, but it's not the first time. I think last year, some we had 20-something words were added to the dictionary as well. So I think it's a continuous thing, and we'll continue to use these words, and our musicians will continue to create some words as well. Oh well. Yes, I think I like this development, but instead of calling it a cultural milestone, I'll rather call it cultural export, because it speaks to the number of Nigerians, that go outside and make this country proud in one way or the other. So if you're on social media and you see skits, done by Kenyans, in the process of making that skit, they'll just chip in one Nigerian language, and you'll be like, how did these people get to know about these things? So you now discover that they relate very well with Nigerians that stay in their countries, not just Kenya. Get to hear about them in Namibia, in South Africa. You see South African women, trying to mimic Nigerians and speak one Nigerian language or the other. Even white people, we have the Oyibo Joan. Oyibo Joan speaks clear English, so clear Pidgin English. You also have this Wanyocha. Wanyocha is, I think she's Swiss but married to a Nigerian. She's been able to export the Igbo culture, You see a lot of these things happen. So it speaks to the kind of our cultural exports to other parts of the country, especially Europe, Africa, and Asia. Now, that said, that is to also tell you that despite the bad name, so to say, that we have outside, there are also people, Nigerians, that are making this country proud in one way or the other, in very different ways. Talk about academic excellence, talk about ingenuity, talk about creativity. And I'm very proud that if you go to the United States and talk about the diaspora community, they will tell you that Nigeria has the most educated diaspora community in the US and in the UK, even in Canada now, So when you see like 10 Nigerians, 5, 6, probably 7 of them will have a doctorate degree. So it is encouraging. While our political leaders, try to shame us by what they do, the bad things that they do when they travel out, and even here that they export. We have a couple of Nigerians that are doing this country proud. But I think for once, I'm proud to be Nigerian, and I hope that I'll continue to be a proud Nigerian.
Oh well, talking about a proud Nigerian, one who has made Nigeria proud in the literary circles in particular, renowned Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie and her husband, Dr. Ivara Isege, have been thrown into mourning following the heartbreaking death of their 21-month-old son, Nkanu Nnamdi. And this is said to be after a brief illness. Well, the family who had welcomed twins in 2024 through surrogacy, confirmed the devastating loss, and they've also appealed for privacy during this period of grief. The news has sent shockwaves across Nigeria and beyond, with tributes pouring in for the award-winning writer. We pray that may God console them. Oh well, away from all of that, we hear also that in a related wave of public outrage, Nollywood actress Bolaji Ogunwala broke down in tears after being stranded for hours at Ekiti Airport due to chronic flight delays. It's called out basically doing morning plans for season carrier that can play this making fun of it. Well, that's just as a story that happened in Lagos, the community throws on top a place, the case haven't left children and one dog. Now, 5 lives. The video later shows free panic, raising questions about the governing involved community. It's that is how this is have the key as a for community they take but over say the benefit any that and about that the map area road and training into all of that. That comes look or how business goes to water, living water. They're going to this it is area and make place. I mean, I heard about the somewhere and that because people live here because they kind of want to put in good shape and put it in shape and people in it right. That's where the business intuition people, lots of like and they get this too. Some having when some people okay, the only place they can also find to lay their head is under the bridges. You go under the bridges and you dislodge them as well. And some people are collecting the rent for some people living under the bridges. The problems facing Nigerians are just many. And then you also have some Nigerians, some well-placed Nigerians having properties in many states, different states, where they don't even reside. How many rooms can you sleep in a night? But you have 57 properties. You have over 700 properties in places. Some of them unoccupied. Some of the houses you see in some areas like Ikoyi, Lekki, some of those houses are not even occupied. They're just built and they're there. You have a security guard and nobody's living there. Meanwhile, a lot of Nigerians are basically living in shops. Do you know people live in shops?
Yes, people do.
They live in shops. They just, they hang around during the day, do their business, maybe ride Okada or something. And then at night time, the shop owner would have left the keys and they pay a certain amount of money. I mean, there was a time I interviewed an Okada rider, Balinde, and I realized that he was paying 500 naira a night. So he pays 500 naira a night and a few others so they can sleep in somebody's shop. And then in the morning, they ensure they get up and leave there as early as, before the person comes to, display their wares. And it's a horrible life.
It's very horrible. Even in banks, some car parks, they share them out. Yeah. No, where people park their cars,
they sleep there.
They sleep there. So the security men just come out and mark them out. 500 or 1,000 naira per night. In the morning before the staff come, you pack your things and move. It happens. Before I talk about Makoko, I'd like to talk about the Ekiti Airport incident. Now, the Ekiti Airport incident speaks to the viability of the airports, that we are dropping around in some parts of the country. So if you have an airplane that is supposed to carry like 150 people, and you buy aviation fare, fly from Lagos to that place, and when you get to Ado, you have probably 12 people trying to fly. So the natural thing, the commonsensical thing to do is to delay the flight until you get up to like 50 people, so that the company can at least make some profit out of the aviation fare. That is part of reasons why the Nigerian Airways had to crumble. Because why? They had to fly the Nigerian flag. If they're moving to Makurdi and the only 3 passengers, they will move at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, depending on the designated time of the park. So they're on to solve all of that over. You go in and make sure also you that the airport and the flight airport will be viable and continue to service your people. Now that said, I don't have a problem with demolishing waterfronts, but I have a problem with not providing alternatives for the people that already reside there. If you travel out, on a few occasions that I've traveled out, you discover that when you look at waterfronts, you practically want to take water from those fronts and drink. Very clean, looks very green and everything natural, clement. But here, when you look at waterfronts, if you just look at it, you remove your face. And the kind of people that live there, hygiene, nothing, health-wise, nothing good about it. So, but we have to move on and something has to give. That is the truth of the matter. But if government wants to clean waterfronts, they should also provide alternatives for people that are already residing there. If they don't protect the vulnerables, it becomes a problem.
Some of these people do businesses there. So if you're dislodging them from residing there, ensure they can continue their business, fishing and stuff like that. The other thing I compare event yeah, and you hear from a lot where they will put some gold water to take fishing being important and should alter for those. They should also now I mean fishing. So if they do then water fishing is the area. So for people when is there contributing for people to say all of that is what and do the demolition fronts for what against is not providing alternatives both for business and for residences for these people. Now that said, I think let's get into the papers. I think we have one or two of them. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. The Vanguard newspaper is here. The headlines here: FD directs shipping firms, airlines to submit manifest via national single window. U.S. Senate rebukes Trump over Venezuela. They should do more than rebuke. 141 million Nigerians poor, while politicians jostle for power. Obi. Governors who defect should lose seats, Mohalo. And impeachment, APC, Rivers Assembly at war over Fubara deputy. And the riders are many. APC, PDP factions reject impeachment move, drop impeachment threat against governor. But we'll get into all of that during this newspaper review. Another headline here: Nigeria attracts $14 billion foreign investment in 9 months of 2025. Nigeria attracts $14 billion foreign investment. Chugman, did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Oxford Dictionary adds Mami Market Amala, other Nigerian words into glossary. Bloodbath in Benue. Rival cult gangs kill 8 in supremacy clash. FG disburses AFCON bonuses to Super Eagles. Finance Minister, laughable, I must say. Why must they complain before they get what is due unto them? I hope they win their next match on Saturday. Oh well. Those are the headlines from the Vanguard newspaper.
Yes, and that's pretty much how far we can go on newspaper headlines. We'll return at 10 o'clock and take more newspapers. In the meantime, we'll go for a short break. And when we return, we'll go to River State, where the State House of Assembly has started impeachment notices to the governor, Sim Fubara, and his deputy, Ngozi Odu. Join us again. We'll be right back.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Hey guys, what's up? How you all doing? They call me Lovisha Nelson One, your number one celebrity host, and you are watching Voice of the People Television, VOP. Stay tuned.
Uyi Osarite is my name. I am a friend of the microphone, Voice of the People TV. That name is unique, and the brand is very sweet. I like the packaging. Picture qualities, camera qualities, and then of course, the quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. I talk and get paid, and I look forward to being in your studios.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV, live here in Benin City, the cradle of black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning. That is Voice of the People Television. Now we go to Rivers State, where the political crisis has deepened as the State House of Assembly formally commenced impeachment proceedings against Governor Sim Fubara, accusing him of spending public funds without legislative approval. While Speaker Martin Amewule declared Fubara a threat to democracy, insisting that the governor's alleged disregard for due process undermines the rule of law. The impeachment move has sparked outrage across the state, as a matter of fact, across the entire country, with dramatic scenes captured on social media, showing tense confrontations and protests outside the assembly complex. The impeachment push is far from unanimous. A faction of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Rivers State has openly rejected the move, describing it as politically motivated and dangerous for the state's stability. Supporters of Fubara argue that the governor is being targeted by entrenched political interests, determined to weaken his administration, while critics insist accountability must prevail. Now, before we bring in our guests, there's a video out there. Let's get to hear what the speaker said about the impeachment and all of that.
The governor does not even want to present any budget, because if he wanted to, he would have brought it all this while. Simla Fubara is a mistake. He is a mistake. Rivers State has never had it this bad. In the entire Nigeria, Simla Fubara and Professor Uma Ngozi Odu, these are the only two people in the office at the sub-national level that are yet to present 2026 appropriation bill. The entire country. I'm sure if you go to the entire West African sub-region or even Africa, you will not find any sub-national government that has not presented an appropriation bill for 2026. Who would believe that in this 21st century, that a state like Rivers State will not have an appropriation bill either presented or passed? Nothing is holding the governor for presenting it. He chose not to. And the governor has been boasting that he will always go and meet the president for the president to call us and give us instruction. He has been boasting, he has been saying it to his followers that this assembly were nothing but toothless bulldog. That this 10 Rivers House assembly, we cannot do anything, we cannot enforce the constitution. This is a sad commentary for our democracy. Sir Simla Fubara and Professor Uma Odu, they are nothing but a threat to our nascent democracy. If they are allowed to remain in office, I don't know what will become of our democracy.
Okay, now you heard it. That's the Speaker Martin Amewule at the plenary, addressing members of the State House of Assembly and talking about what the governor has done, what they call impeachable conduct, gross misconduct, which are impeachable offenses. Now, let's bring in our guests. We have in the studio here with us Mr. Dele Fanimo. Dele is a seasoned reporter and political affairs analyst. Good morning, Dele, and thanks for joining us. And we have our virtual guests. We have Barrister Asim Adam. Barrister Adam is a constitutional lawyer, civil rights activist, and former spokesperson, Chief Beatrice Utubo / Peter Obi campaign organization in Rivers State during the 2023 general election. We also have Barrister Eze Eluche. He's an attorney at law and public affairs analyst. He joined us from Owerri. And by the way, Asim joined us from Port Harcourt. And from our Benin outstation, we have Kevin Ejimodu, activist Kevin Ejimodu. He's a public and political affairs analyst. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. I'd like for us to go to Port Harcourt, where Asim is. Let him give us a brief of what is happening in Port Harcourt. Good morning to you, Barrister Asim Adams. And thanks for joining us on the this morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Mr. Okoro. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well, loud and clear. Thanks for coming.
Good morning to, thank you, Mr. Fanimo. Good morning to you. And
good morning, sir.
My good friend, my brother, good morning. Comrade.
All right.
Comrade from behind, good morning.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Barrister Asim Adam. Now, let's get into you in Rivers State. I would like for you to tell us what is going on in Rivers State. What is the the play of politics, the people, what is the reaction of the people? If you walk through the streets of Rivers State, what is the reaction of the people? But as you do that, I'd also like you to take us into the nitty-gritty, the details, the impeachment process. Is it something you think that the House of Assembly can pull through, considering the political permutations, the calculations here? We have the Wike on one side, we have the governor on one side, and we have the president on both sides. So, can you walk us through what is going on in Rivers State and what you think could be the outcome of this impeachment proceedings?
Thank you very much, Mr. Okoro. In Rivers State, we are used to what is happening. When I say we are used to it, if you have been in Rivers State from 1999 to date, you will know that similar things played out during the tenure of Rotimi Amechi, where we had political turmoil, that almost shut the state down. The House of Assembly at that time too was almost impeaching Amechi. And you remember the proverbial mace. There was a mace that was now used by one of the members to smash on the member's head. I don't know if you guys still remember.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
So it's been like that. So we are used to it. That is why you find that we are going about our businesses. This morning, yesterday, everywhere was calm. This morning, the whole place is calm. The Rivers people are tired. Honestly, they are tired that their governor and governors in Rivers State have not been able to govern effectively well because of politics. Amechi had issues, with even a CP. So it's always drama every time in Rivers State. So we are used to it in Rivers State. So we really not feeling the heat. Okay. We move around because we know it's like a normal now in politics in Rivers State for years. Now, coming into the impeachment, issue, I want to make it succinctly clear, that what I've seen so far, I have not seen a notice of impeachment as required by the Constitution. What is on the public space, the social media space, what I've seen are just the impeachment, the particulars of impeachment, which ought to be attached to the notice of impeachment. I don't know, maybe they served on the governor the whole document as envisaged by the Constitution, or what they served was what is being played out on social media. But let me make it straight that what I have seen on social media are just the allegations, what we call the particulars of your offense for impeachment. It does not serve as a notice of impeachment. So we have to distinguish between these two.
Okay.
Under Section 188, sub 1 to 9, that is where the procedures of removal of a governor etc. lie. I may not be able to, subsection by subsection, begin to follow it in that trajectory. But I'll do a summary so that for a reason of time. Now, what happens is this. There must be a motion moved to the Speaker that they want to impeach the governor. And that is where the notice of impeachment must be written and the particulars of offenses attached and served on the governor. Now, once they have to get 1/3 to do that. If they achieve 1/3 of the House, then they will not serve that particular notice of impeachment on the governor. Within 7 days, they have to do that service. Once the governor is served, the governor has the right, intrinsic right, to respond to the allegations contained in the notice of impeachment. He must have to respond to those allegations. He has 14 days for him to do that. Now, once that is done, and maybe he responds, then the matter now comes back to the House. The House will now deliberate on it and now go to talk to order the CJ of the state to set up a panel. Setting up of a panel, according to the Constitution, says that 7-member committee panel must be set up. And these are men of unquestionable character. So open and close, unquestionable, I don't know what unquestionable means. If in my own opinion, unquestionable character is that maybe a child that is just 6 months old should be part of that particular committee, because unquestionable to me is subjective. It now depends on what you mean by questionable.
Okay.
Now, those members will now look into the allegations. And if they find that there is a case to answer by the governor, they will recommend to the House of Assembly that the governor has a case to answer. The House of Assembly will now do what now? By 2/3 majority, remove the governor. I'm just trying to summarize so that
beautiful. That's good.
Then that is it. The question I've asked, and which has become vacuous, assuming the 7-member committee that was set up by the CJ says no, the governor has no case to answer, does that mean that the impeachment process will abate? The Constitution did not say anything, silent on that, which means if it is silent on that, so even if the committee says yes or no, the House of Assembly may decide and overrule the committee and go on and impeach the governor. That is one thing I've noticed.
Okay.
Now, the second thing I've noticed is that Section 188 sub 10, oust the jurisdiction of the courts. Section 188 sub 10 oust the jurisdiction of the courts. It says that once these things are ongoing, the courts cannot question. They cannot question, whatever that is going on in the House of Assembly for now in Rivers State. Then subsection 11 also describes what gross misconduct is.
Okay.
Gross misconduct. They listed issues there, but they gave a latitude.
Okay. All right.
So members of the House of Assembly.
All right, Barrister Adams.
Gross misconduct can be determined based on their discretion.
Okay.
So these are things that we need to answer and analyze.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Adams, for this very elaborate explanation. Now, before we bring in other guests, I'd like you to take 1 minute and tell us, based on what you understand now, do you think that the House of Assembly can impeach Sim Fubara, like in 30 seconds? Very brief and very direct.
Of course. I live in Rivers State. I follow the events politically and otherwise here. Sim Fubara deserves to be impeached.
Okay.
With what I've seen on ground. He has breached the Constitution.
No, that wasn't my question. No, that wasn't my... Do you think they can? Do you think they can? The politics of it, the political implications.
No, okay. What are the... Hello, if I get you, I didn't get you.
What I mean is, if you understand the politics, Wike, President, Sim Fubara, the interconnections, the intersections, the overlappings, and all the political implications, do you think that they can remove him?
Okay, I understand you now. It's going to be very difficult.
Okay.
It's going to be, can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right. It's going to be very difficult to remove him.
Legally speaking, yes, but politically.
Okay, politically will be difficult.
Very difficult. Because
all right, thank you very much, Barrister Adams. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Barrister Adams. Now, let's go to Barrister Ezeluche and get another legal perspective to what's going on in Rivers State. Good morning to you, Barrister Ezeluche, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you very much for the invite.
Okay. Now, so I'd like for you to tell us, from the legal perspective, what is going on in Rivers State, briefly about the impeachment process.
Well, I will beg to differ from Barrister Singh in Port Harcourt. The reality is that right from the inception of this regime, Rivers State is no longer run under constitutional means. I mean, the state has been an aberration, unfortunately. From the moment the members of the House of Assembly decamped to the from the PDP to the APC, they lost their seats. Somehow they continue to stay. From the moment Mr. President Bola Tinubu unconstitutionally and illegitimately removed the governor, the state fell again into another era of unconstitutionality. Even when the Supreme Court itself, they avoided adjudicating on that matter, the state wild in unconstitutionality and illegality. And when the Supreme Court even gave its obnoxious judgment that the president of a country of the Nigeria can remove a governor at will for whatsoever reason, the state also, again, fell deeper into the graves of unconstitutionality. It is so sad that a state like Rivers, which produces it's like where Nigeria's wealth comes from, has been reduced to this level of governance by mediocres at all levels. I mean, the House of Assembly, even the governor moves around the state with a band playing the hailing Mr. President Bola Tinubu. It's so sad. And what has this done to Rivers State? It has left it in a virtual state of obsolete penury. I mean, the state is just...
Just about 3
days ago.
Okay.
And it's so sad. So what I'm saying in essence is that legally, there's no need discussing the law here, because what will happen is this. What does Bola Tinubu want in this case?
No, before we get to what the president wants, let's look at the gross misconduct, the list of things that they put out as gross misconduct, and let's x-ray this. All right. Now, they said demolition of the assembly complex, which we know has been rebuilt, unapproved budgetary spending. Take us through that as well, because we know that the sole administrator had a budget that was approved, and could it be that does the governor have a right to still continue the implementation of that budget? And there's also something around 6 months period of a budget you can spend into all of that. Help us make sense of all of that. Withholding funds meant for the Rivers Assembly Service Commission, refusal to obey the Supreme Court's ruling on the financial autonomy of the House, and seizure of the salaries of the clerk of the Rivers House of Assembly, Emeka Amadi. These are some of the things, the reasons they have put forward as gross misconduct. And on these grounds, they are saying they want to impeach the governor. How viable are these points?
Well, each and every one of those reasons given are germane reasons that can be used to impeach a governor, a sitting governor. I mean, any one of them actually is enough to remove a sitting governor. But like you said, when there is a budget that was approved by National Assembly, by the House of Reps for the illegitimate immediate past administrator of the state, the illegitimacy continues. That is why for lawyers, the situation in Rivers State is unfortunate, very unfortunate, because you do not begin to legitimize the acts of an illegitimate House of Assembly and then use it to condemn the illegitimate acts of a government. The state is a shame to democracy. Not the people of the state, mind you, not the people of the state, but the political gladiators who currently occupy the seat of the various levels of governance in the state. I wonder whether this CJ of the state will empanel the so-called, will act based on the letters from this House of Assembly. That is why I say you cannot, in instance, but wonder what is the intent and purpose of Mr. President Bola Tinubu in Rivers State. Because forget constitution, forget the law, because that's what has happened in Rivers State so far. It has not been an issue. The issue has always been, what does Bola Tinubu do? And it's so sad that we have to discuss a state like Rivers State on the pedestal of what does Bola Tinubu want. And I understand that Mr. Fubara is currently traveling with Mr. Tinubu somewhere in France or wherever. If that is the case, all these shenanigans of these characters in Rivers State in Port Harcourt amounts to zero. Because there will just be a phone call, and that is the end of the whole process. Like the speaker actually said in the House that they will be told to stop, and they will stop. Because guess what? If they don't stop, there are several levels that the presidency has to remove them. He will send EFCC after them, because they're all tainted characters. He will send the ICPC. So it's so sad, but we have to be realistic in discussing the state of the Rivers State issue. Okay. Because going deep into the constitutional framework, into the provisions of the Constitution, does not apply to Rivers State. Sadly.
Oh my.
Yes, it doesn't apply at all.
Oh well. Thank you very much, Pastor Iziliche. Let's bring other guests into the conversation as well. I would like us to bring Kelvin Ejimedo. Kelvin, you're an activist. Now, you just heard the barrister. First of all, let's establish communication. Let's be sure that Kelvin is there with us. Kelvin, good morning to you. Good morning, Kelvin. You might need to unmute your microphone so we can get your audio feed. All right.
Yes, I've done that.
Oh, great. Good to have you. Okay, so now let's look at the barrister, Iziliche, just said, look, forget the Constitution, forget the law. What does President Tinubu want? How does that make you feel? Talking about our democracy. And now it's not even about what the Constitution says. It's about what the president wants. And also, looking at
what is playing out in Rivers State, where these state assembly members are now members, officially members of the APC. And the APC in Rivers State is saying, look, forget impeachment process. Forget it. But the assembly members are saying, we will go ahead with this. It seems to be a house divided against itself, isn't it? And where do you think that will place all of the happenings in Rivers State in the coming days?
You know, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
This is the more reason I keep saying Nigerian democracy is oligarchy in disguise. We are not practicing democracy in Nigeria. What we have is oligarchy system of government of the few, by the few, and for the few elite in power. Democracy is all about the people's will, the people's mandate, what the people of Rivers State, what they want. What does Nigeria want, not what the president wants. When we begin to see a stereotype democracy centered around the autocratic view of the president, then one begin to ask questions. Are we truly ready to be a democratic nation? Your guess is as good as mine. Having said that, I think it came to me as a shock and worrisome, because saying the boss is on the president what he wants. Is the president bigger than the constitution of Nigeria? The answer is no. The constitution takes preeminence over all emotions, and the president also, in an ideal and a sane situation, the president must be under the constitution. But in Nigeria today, we've seen court orders being pushed aside. We've seen even the judiciary being swept under the carpet. And executives are taking the center stage, and whatever the executive decides becomes the order of the day. It has played out in different states, even in the FCT and all of that. And one begin to ask, are we really practicing democracy? In my own take, we are practicing oligarchy. Government of the few, by the few, and for the few.
All right,
having said that,
okay,
Rivers State is the second state that gets the federal allocation from the FAC monthly. Last week I was in Rivers State. Nothing is happening. The state is just there. The roads, most of the roads that have been tattered. Everyone looking dirty and unkempt. And I keep wondering, sir, why is the governor not acting? Why is not working like other with kind of money that comes to the state? Rivers State, all their roads need to be connected and well tarred and looking very neat. But he has deviated from the course of governance into going about like my learned person said with a live band.
Mr. Kevin.
Today you are here playing.
Mr. Kevin.
Mr.
Jumudu.
At Wike.
Mr. Jumudu.
Yes, please.
The national chairman of the APC, Nentawe Idwata, was in Rivers State the other day, and he took a tour. He said, Mr. Governor, you have done so well and you deserve a second term. So, you saw different, or what you saw is different from what the national chairman of APC saw. How do we reconcile all of that?
You know, playing party politics and the real politics on ground, they are two different dynamics. The party chairman is happy because him as they come into the APC, and he knows that money, the last chunk of money for the next election will come from Rivers. He's applauding the governor, but I bet you, ask people living in Rivers State, there's no true governance since him came up.
Okay.
But
okay.
He needs to up his game and push for governance. Not this thing guy is doing every day traveling, and today you are playing like that, tomorrow you are playing like that. When Wike was protecting you, you were as humble. You was as humble as a humble puppet.
All right.
Today you are really sure that with the man that brought you out against all odds.
All right.
There are better ways you can do your bargain. What you do behind the closed door.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kelvin.
Come on.
Ejimudo.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your thoughts there. Let's bring it to Dele Fanimo now in the studio. We're trying to compare. Someone's saying he's working. Someone's saying he's not working. He's not doing anything. But the president, should we hold him? Should we, say he's not working? Has he had enough time to even work when we saw that he was removed by the according to the state of emergency, was removed sometime in March, and then was only reinstated in sometime in September. And between September and now, is that enough time to say, okay, he has done something?
it's pretty difficult to really put the performance of the governor on any scale, because he came like David fighting wars. There was no respite
fight, according to some
him.
wars that he brought onto himself.
Yes, I know, but we are just saying that the premise is to be laid that there was no way somebody that has to run from pillar to post from day one. The moment he started resisting Wike was when his trouble started. I am not in support of what he did with Wike, because he mortgaged the future of Rivers in attempt to become governor of Rivers State by acceding to those unassailable demands put before him by Wike. So to that extent, he messed the state up. Now, the question is, can we rightly say he has performed or not? There is no basis for any assessment, because we have not seen him sit down to do the job for which he was elected. Before the impeachment in March last year, he was always having meetings, shuttling. Wike was on his neck. The presidency was trying to mediate in the open, whereas they were only trying to cow him. But the ultimate goal was to ensure that Rivers State falls and falls to APC, which has been achieved. But I would have expected that after the entire house had defected to APC and the governor also went along with them to APC, it would have been an internal crisis that should be resolved within the party. But for me, like Barrister Asim said earlier, I don't see this state assembly pulling through this impeachment. Because what I feel, and I feel strongly about it, is that they are just trying to untwist this man to help them cover lost ground, quote and unquote.
How exactly do you mean?
The state assembly had been in limbo for how many months? Their allowances have not been paid, because nobody has announced that they have been paid, and election is coming. Some of them will still want to come back to the house. Some want to step up by going to the House of Reps or probably the Senate, and they need resources, and they are banking on the state resources to accommodate those games they are going to play preparatory to election and election proper. So I am sure that very soon the gladiators will be called to Aso Rock and they will mend fences, and the impeachment. Look at that thing that Barrister Asim pointed out, that it is still within the realm of social media that these people have commenced impeachment process. They all know that the process leading to impeachment has to be followed before they can proclaim the governor impeached, and they have not even served notice, but the whole place is heated. And so when you see that kind of scenario playing out, it's like they deliberately put the cart before the horse. We hear
that the notice has been served. We actually hear that the notice has been served.
Okay, if the notice has been served, but I know, like I said, as at the time this proclamation was made, the notice was not served.
Okay, now talking about the House of Assembly being in limbo and trying to connect you to the fact that, look, probably they have not been paid. That you said we have not heard that they have been paid.
Paid, yes.
In Nigeria, we normally don't hear when people are paid. The only time we hear is when they are not paid. Now, also recall, do you think that the governor will be daft enough not to have paid them their salaries and entitlement? Because in December, he sent out 100,000 naira piece to all of them, which they returned. So do you think that the governor will go ahead, not pay them their salaries and allowances, and now just give them 100,000 naira? Would it be so daft? I use that word daft advisedly. Will it do that?
Now, if you look at that scenario, it was like showing the whole world that, look, these people, it's a slap. Fubara knew what he was doing. He just wanted to show the whole world that these people really need money. So that's where I'm going. That they need money. You know, there was a time Wike took them to UK. They spent a week, all expenses paid. You know, probably from the pocket of FCT minister. Now they have not been able to recoup the lost ground. They have not been able to achieve what they want to achieve. So the only way is to twist the governor. And the governor, through that so-called benevolence of 100,000 naira a piece, is just suggesting to you that, look, these people, this is what they want. How would a State House of Assembly member take 100,000 naira as Christmas gift when a chicken, a robust chicken sells for 40,000 naira? And at that time, he needed to take care of his constituencies. People will come and say, Happy Christmas, sir. You know what that means.
Okay, all right.
Nigerian Palace.
Okay, let me go back to Barrister Asim Adams. Barrister Asim Adams, I hope you're still with us. Now, how far can Wike go, really? Because we're hearing, we're seeing videos on social media. We're hearing things like, it doesn't matter what the president wants, nobody should come to River State. River State is his base, and things like that. Like he will, you know. In fact, there was a message I got yesterday trying to verify that. Well, that has not been verified anyway. That Wike is saying that, look, that if he's pushed to the wall, he will tell the story of what happened in River State in 2023 and who truly won the election in the state. Well, that is on one side. So how far do you think he can really go if he doesn't get his way? Because we know that Wike is behind all of this, or don't you think so?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Very well.
Let me tell you first of all, say Fubara is playing the victim. Before I go to your question, the governor put it on record. The governor saying Fubara is acting the victim, whereas he's the aggressor. Now let me tell you, for those who are not aware, who are jubilating, for those who are saying 100,000 he gave to workers, etc., go and read section 120, section 121, section 122, section 123 of the Nigerian Constitution, and section 162, sub 1, 2, 3, 4. Go and read them. Now let me tell you, I will give you a summary. Why I'm saying that he's playing the victim, whereas he's the one allowing embezzlement of funds in River State. The consolidated account is what he's using right now, because the law says that where the budget of the state has not been submitted to the House of Assembly of the state, that the governor, that any governor of the 6 states, can dip his hand into the consolidated account of the state and do the expenditure of the state. So what the man is not doing, what is consolidated account? It's an account that is open for taxes, etc., whatever as the case may be. The governor has the will now to go there, for instance, in the page, without the consent of the House of Assembly. He can come tomorrow and tell you that it was 500 billion naira that they use in settling workers. You cannot verify that. He can also dip his hand into the consolidated account without the budget and say he has given 500 billion to Sokoto State or Benue State or even Lagos State. He can even dip his hand and say he wants to buy vehicles for traditional rulers in River State, vehicles costing 100 million etc. Because that is the account that is allowed by the Constitution. But he says that even if you want to take money from that account, you have to get the consent of the House of Assembly. He took the 100,000 naira he used in paying the worker not budgeted for. He did not take the premature authority for the House of Assembly. River State is a glorified village. I live here. For decades, I've been living here. I've been in Lagos. When I went to Lagos and I spent about 6 months in Lagos, I came back. I saw River State even worse than I left it. So what is development? What exactly is happening in this state? That is the question we are asking. He has said his wickedness not make him to perform. No, but wickedness allow you to embezzle the funds of the state using other contraptions, as the case may be. No. The East-West Road that he initiated, which the whole world, applauded him, costing about $1 billion. What has happened to it? It has been abandoned. I'm in Rivers State. It has been abandoned. We have not seen caterpillars working there.
Okay.
As I speak to you, the electricity is scarce. We run generators here. What is going on in the state? Is it the educational sector? I passed through, a primary school around Rumwe Kini.
Barrister.
I passed through a primary school around, the Upolu Junction. It has been overtaken by weeds and flood.
Barrister, see, madam, you have
under the state government.
I understand. Now,
let me go to the question. Let me go to your question because I'm bitter. I want people to say he has achieved. Let me go to your question.
Okay.
If I got you very correctly, you said that he made a statement that he's going to make sure that he will expose 2023. What happened there?
Yes.
I have not verified that. We participated in 2023. We knew what happened. I fought for labor. Nobody gave me a dime. P2B that is there. I met him several times in Port Harcourt. I was working for him and Beatrice Tubo in Rivers State. We never got 1,000 naira. We staked our lives to make sure that Labour Party comes out in Rivers State. Yes, I escaped being shot along NTA Road trying to defend votes on Labour Party. It's on record. I can send the videos to you. And we saw how they manipulated results, how they contrived results to make sure that Fubara wins the election of that year. I was a critic of Yeso Wike and Fubara at that time. I see how they did forward to you.
No, we're talking more about the presidential election.
This man is forcing on us. He's forcing on us this particular man called Fubara. But at the end of the day, there's going to be cataclysmic results and consequences. That is what is happening today. That is why I don't share sympathy with him.
All right.
I don't hate him as a person.
Okay, but I see where your passion is
for those of us who are here, we are bitter.
Okay, I see where.
We're bitter to hear or see what is happening in Rivers State. We are not very happy.
All right, but you haven't exactly answered my question. But let's give others an opportunity. Let's go to another lawyer, Barrister Eze Eluche. Let me ask you the same question. How far do you think Wike can go if he feels, because some people have said Wike is behind this. I mean, he's behind the governor's impeachment. We've seen him move around, even to the point where he had to meet with Asarido Kubo. And some are saying he's pushing for the impeachment of the governor because he feels aggrieved as to what the governor is doing. So my question is, how far do you think he can go in achieving that if the president is not on the same page with him, since it's now an APC thing? Barrister Ezeluche, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I think one of the good things that can come out from this whole process is if Wike fulfills his threats. I mean, it will be a beautiful thing for Nigeria's democracy. It will be beautiful for our posterity and our future. Because Wike has already begun to even really reveal or make some of those threats real. Not too long ago, he warned the PDP secretary, the national secretary, who is from Osun State, that he knows the role he played in ensuring judicial victory for the APC in Osun State issues. And he has also now met with a notorious mercenary gang leader, Asari Dokubo, which gives an inclination that soon there may be some kind of violence in the state. And he has also threatened to reveal who won in Rivers State. So if Wike will fulfill his threat, then it will be good for our democracy. Because in truth, Nigerians know that Mr. Tinubu did not win in Rivers State. Nigerians know it was the Labour Party that won in Rivers State. So let Wike be a man for once in his life and do what he has threatened to do. It is rather sad for Rivers State that right from the onset of this entire democratic dispensation, and I'm talking way back to the time of the governor, the medical doctor Odili, whose funds were used to furnish the federal government, to Amechi, who also used Rivers State's funds to palliate, to serve the political issue as and now Wike, who is boasting that he has funded the PDP from whose source? From the River State funds. I really pity for the people of River State because the funds being wasted in the past 24 years by their various governors should have made River State an El Dorado. River State deserves to be an El Dorado because of the oil wealth it has, and not to be punished by fumes, smokes everywhere. People in River State actually are more likely to die of cancer than in other states because of the fumes they inhale. So please, yes, if you are a man, for once in your life, go ahead and do these things you are ready to do. Because I know what will happen to you if you do that. The force of the federal government will descend on you so squarely. Because it has proved that Wike is a neophyte political. He doesn't know when he's beaten. And he has been beaten fair and square in this brigandage, which he has unleashed on River State.
You think
rather than go home and lick and enjoy the goods?
Well, those are your thoughts.
He's coming to threaten the federal government.
Those are your thoughts. Some will disagree with you.
Well,
Kelvin,
those are my thoughts, but
some will disagree. Some will disagree with you on that one.
Some what?
I said some will disagree with you on that.
Oh, certainly. But any person who's on ground in Nigeria knows these realities. I mean, you may call them my point, but they are also the viewpoints of most Nigerians who appreciate what has happened in the past 24 years and is happening now. When I say that what happens in River State depends on Mr. Bola Tinubu, it's not as a compliment. It should be a shame to Mr. Bola Tinubu that he has so messed up the democratic process that people now rely on his whims and caprices to determine what happens in a state. He has so muzzled the entire system of governance, the judiciary, the National Assembly, that he has pocketed it. But let Mr. Bola Tinubu realize this. It is when you think you have it all, that's when you lose it all.
All right.
He thinks he has it all, but he's going to lose it all because Nigerians cannot continue in this mess.
All right.
Has placed Nigeria.
All right then. Thank you very much, Barrister Eze. Let me bring you back to the studio now. Delifanimo, could there be a possibility that there might be another declaration of a state of emergency in River State if things spiral out of control?
It's not going to happen. It will be treated as a family affair this time. Because
even if there is violence?
No, because the House of Assembly will not carry out their threats to the letter.
You seriously believe this?
And it won't get to a point that the president would have to say is declaring another round of state of emergency, because it will also erode the confidence of the Rivers people, and it will affect the fortunes of the party APC. And if it affects APC as a party, be sure that it will affect the president. And the president, or any president for that matter, or a presidential candidate for that matter, knows that Rivers State is critical to it. Rivers, Lagos, Kano. These are three critical states in an election year.
Yes, from what one of the analysts said, he said, unconfirmed, that looks like seeing me somewhere in Europe with the president in the midst of all of this.
I know that there will be that.
Okay. So now, does it look like the president has thrown Wike under the bus?
Look, from all indications, except Wike begins to delude himself at this point, Wike is not, is no longer a critical stakeholder in River State, unlike before, when the federal government, as exemplified by the president, wanted him to railroad the PDP governor, Fubara, into joining APC. The ultimate goal of the president is to ensure that PDP, this River State comes under APC. Like I said earlier, APC is a frontline state when election comes. Now, as soon as that is done, ordinarily, Wike is just like a consultant.
Do you think
the moment you finish a project, you hand over to the owner.
Okay, now quick one. Do you think that Fubara's movement to the ADC made any difference? Because
APC.
To APC made any difference? Because a lot of people believe that when this problem started, that it was a matter of days. That Wike, in one leg in PDP, was clearly, openly saying that, look, I'm working for the president. in 2027. A lot of people believe that Sim, whether he was in PDP or APC, was already in APC and will eventually work for the president.
Look,
so that movement, don't you think it was just cosmetic?
Now, let me tell you, 2027, the president or APC or the presidency will never throw Fubara under the bus for certain reasons, one of which is it is cost effective to have a sitting governor contest an election than bring another person that does not have access to human and material resources.
Material resources that might need approval from the state assembly. What if they refuse to give it?
No, let me tell you why some of these approvals will not pass through the state assembly. If the governor wants to brand buses, does he need to go to state assembly? If he wants to extend handshake to the critical stakeholders to mobilize, you see, I am telling you, APC, from all indications, from their antecedents, you will know that they have a way of making sure that everything is within the family and resolving it.
One last,
and Wike, don't forget that
question.
Wike is still an outsider, and it is a very clear statement from the party leadership and even the chairman of the party.
A couple of people believe that at the national level he might be an outsider to APC, but that in Rivers APC he's still in control. Now, one last question: do you think that the president and the APC hierarchy might just allow the House of Assembly to impeach Fubara just to make a political point? Oh, people say that we are struggling for one party state, but we allowed one of our governors to be taken out.
No, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen in a River State.
All right, then, Kelvin Ejimodo, please let's get your concluding thoughts on this one for today as we continue to watch how things unfold in River State. Let's get your thoughts on this one.
Yes, my take is the impeachment proceedings won't skate through because there are a lot of demands from different quarters. Yes, on Wike's camp, Sim's camp, and the president's camp, and also the APC National Secretariat, their camp also. What they all are looking for is the goose that lays the golden egg in River State, which is what? The revenue, the money in the coffers of River State to be used for the next elections. You know, it takes only a good leader to think of the next generation, but in this scenario, the Nigerian politicians, both of them think about the next elections. And that's why you see the politics being heated up in River State. Just Wike said it in an interview. He said by January, politics will start. And we've seen this whole thing playing out in this same January. Impeachment proceedings, himself being traveling from one government to another government saying thank you, visit, and all of that. So the politics has been heated up. But I know for one, the president that we have in Nigeria, he put himself first before another person. So in the coming days, I think he's going to use his power to ensure that Sim is not being impeached. And I know Wike is one that fights very dirty. Hence, he has not let the PDP fully. He might decide if it doesn't have his way, he wants to fight back the APC using the PDP platform. And I know the president also is a smart politician that also watched Wike's back and ensure he tame him and put him where he belongs. So in the coming days, it's going to be an interesting one for all of us to see. But I know this impeachment process will not skate through. Because
right,
the 7 days notice will be served to Sim Fubara, and it's going to respond. The CJ also, I don't think they're going to give their own full support to ensure that Sim is being impeached. But above all, they should think about the people of River State. The women, the men, the civil servants, think about the welfare of citizens of River State and not their own selfish interest. Because Sim made a lot of agreements.
Okay.
Behind closed doors.
Agreement is agreement.
Is the valiant, yeah. They do think they are pressing him, but whereas when he signed those deals at back door, he signed them with his full chest.
All right.
Then you come and tell your followers that you have been oppressed. When we sign those agreements.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Kelvin Ejimodo. Inyendeba.
You know what that means?
Agreement is agreement. All right, then. Well, we'll continue to keep our eyes on events in River State as they unfold, and we'll continue to report them. Well, let's move on to another conversation now. NLC and Peter Obi are lending their voices to the reports that 141 million Nigerians may face or will face poverty in the coming months. Well, let's talk about this when we come back. Well, the Labour Party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has raised an indictment of Nigeria's political class, accusing politicians of scrambling for power, while 141 million Nigerians sink deeper into poverty. Obi lamented that despite the country's vast resources, governance has failed to prioritize the welfare of ordinary people, leaving millions unable to afford basic necessities. His remarks have struck a chord with frustrated Nigerians who see widening inequality as evidence that leadership is detached from the harsh realities of daily survival. Now, echoing these sentiments, the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, have condemned the recent government tax policies, describing them as unjust and inhumane, and also saying that they target people already trapped in extreme poverty. The NLC have warned that squeezing the poorest Nigerians through taxation while inflation and unemployment soar could spark widespread unrest. Now, this convergence of voices from political opposition and organized labor has ignited fierce debate nationwide, with many asking whether Nigeria's leadership are more interested in consolidating power than rescuing millions from economic despair. But the controversy is, well, we do have with us our analyst, Daily Fanning, will stay very much in the building. And we also have Barrister Eze Luche and Kelvin Ejimudo joining the conversation. We've had to let Barrister Sim Adams go. But let me start off with Barrister Eze Luche. 141 million Nigerians now said to be going into poverty in before the end of 2026. But the government also kickstarting its tax policies. What do you think can be done differently? Now let's try to look in the way of solution to issues. What can be done differently? We also know that foreign bodies like USAID and the rest of them are withdrawing aids that come to Nigeria and some other parts of Africa. But how can we ensure? Can we get a Joseph in this case now to ensure that when the famine comes, Nigerians will have food to eat?
Well, thank you very much. What can be done is to even govern by the rule of law. I mean, obey the laws. The current, the new tax regime, which Bola Tinubu has announced will started this January, is illegal. It's in fact, it's high treason, because the Nigerian Constitution provides that Nigeria must be governed by the law, and the law in Nigeria is that the acts are made when the houses pass the bill and the Mr. President signs what has been passed by the House of Assembly, sorry, by the National Assembly. The tax law that is being peddled about was clearly not what the National Assembly passed. I mean, there were fundamental differences. So what can be done differently is what you ask, is to even abide by the law, do what has been passed. But then when the Bola Tinubu goes ahead and says, no matter what the people do feel, I will do what I want to do, which is what is playing out now, then there is going to be a problem. Because like the report you said, 440 million Nigerians are below poverty, and I'm sure that number is even underestimated. Because the new benchmark for poverty is $3 per day per person. I mean, if you calculate that, a family of 4 in Nigeria have to have over 500,000, I mean, millions. So the number of Nigerians in poverty is closer to 200 million because the unemployment rate is catastrophic. And Mr. Bola Tinubu does not give a damn. He does not care. Because to him, he has the police, he has the army, he has the forces. But Nigerians must understand one thing from this process. There is the need for us to insist that the votes get counted. Why am I saying this? You have a president who does not care, who came about into office not even with your votes. So he does not give a damn how you feel. So when next we have elections, we must insist that the votes get counted and who people vote for gets to emerge as president. Otherwise, we will have this kind of carefree, laissez-faire approach to governance, to the people's desires, and in the midst of deepening the poverty of the population, the president goes about buying new jets, buying yachts, traveling, gallivanting all over the world at public expenses. And people are getting poor. But he actually said this. He said he will widen the tax net, he will deepen the poverty, and he mentioned all this. So I hope that Nigerians will take a cue from this. Yes.
Very crazy. In the midst of all this, we hear there's a report this morning in one of the major newspapers that Nigeria attracted $14 billion in foreign investments in the month of 9 months of 2025. Now, I'd like for you to juxtapose that with the information we also have that 141 million Nigerians will get into abject poverty by December 2026. If we have foreigners trooping into this country with $14 billion in excess, that's a lot of money, that's a lot of investment. Does it look like the figures are not aligning? Because these foreign investors, when they come, they set up shop here, they set up businesses. And our GDP, is it not growing or what? So I want us to reconcile all of these. Is there a mismatch of information and reality? What do you think is going on?
We have a Nigerian Bureau of Statistics that churns out very odd and strange figures. That we have less than 3% unemployment in Nigeria, that everything is buoyant, but we know the reality. So if indeed 14 billion came into this country, I can assure you, majority of it is remittances from relatives abroad who want to give their Nigerian family members some breath of life. Not investors, because if it is investors, we will see them on the streets. The corporate conglomerates are all packing and running away from this country. So it's either there is drug money coming in, people, drug dealers or criminals. But if it is corporate entities coming into Nigeria, the answer is no. There is no sort for influx for FDI from foreign investors. Now, in the crude oil sector, which is a very critical area, they would have spent billions to buy machinery for the new gas plants taking place in Imo State or to service the LNG and all that stuff. Perhaps, yes, but not up to the extent of 14 billion. So the bulk of the money being claimed by this regime as foreign FDI is actually remittances from Nigerians abroad, which I assure you now will be reduced because this same government, vicious as it is still looking at taxing those remittances that relatives bring abroad to Nigerians. So the bottom line is this. I hope they keep on pushing. They keep on pushing these Nigerians to the wall. And hopefully in due course, Nigerians will react. Because until Nigerians begin to react, Bola Tinubu and his cohorts will keep on pushing. So there must be a red line drawn and say, they come out and say frontally, enough is enough. And I hope that with this new tax policy is bringing in, with the viciousness it is, with the kind of threshold it has that once you're over 800,000, you're going to pay more tax and all that stuff, the benchmark, the red line would have been crossed, and Nigerians should rise up and tell these characters who stole power from Nigerians, who took the reins of government from us illegally and illegitimately. Enough is enough, and it's time for you guys to
enough is enough.
That's what Nigerians are saying now.
Well, it lies on Nigerians to do the needful in 2027. If they feel that this government is good, let them return them. But if not, they should vote them out. Now, let's bring Mr. Kelvin Ejumudu into this conversation. Thanks for having you again, Kelvin. Now, I want us to, we have a situation here where we have information that if care is not taken, if we don't do something proactively, 141 million Nigerians will move into acute hunger by December 2026. We moved that figure from 133 million Nigerians multidimensionally poor. Now we have scaled it to 141 people that will face acute hunger by December 2026. Curiously, we are talking about foreign direct investment. I want us to talk about how money inflow helps, to trigger growth and development in the economy. Our business is situated in a hotel complex, and there is a very high traffic of foreigners, not holiday makers, business people in and out. And I visit other complexes, and so I'll see a community of travelers, foreigners, Europeans, Asians, always coming in, going out, coming in, going out. They are not holiday makers. Now, in the midst of all of this, does it look like this foreign direct investment is not making impact on our economy? Where is the missing link? Where do we get it wrong? Do you have an idea of why we have high traffic, high volume of businesses coming in, yet we are making projections that by December 2026, more than 60% of our population will be in abject poverty? Can you help us?
I think the figures is way beyond 141. We have been ranked among the poorest of the poorest nations of the world. You see, it has beaten harder than it was. There's no middle class anymore in Nigeria. It's either you are rich or you are poor. Right before now, we have the middle class. People can no longer even eat 2 square meals a day in this country. Some are even civil servants. So I think the narrative there is even, we have up to like, let's say 180 million Nigerians going in poverty. Then talking about the macroeconomics, influx of foreign investors and all of that. You see, corruption has affected us so much that we are not even accountable to ourselves as a nation. When you see these big figures on paper, but in reality, I keep saying it, in reality, the macroeconomics is not visible. In paper, they'll tell you that we've made a lot of profit. NMC will come and declare asset, what they made for the month. Federal allocation will come and declare all of that. But how does it reflect the life of the common man? How much do we buy a basket of gari in the market? How much is transportation? If you are living from Delta to Lagos, you are spending 7,000 naira from Delta to Lagos. Coming back, same 7,000 naira. How much is it? How much is the cost of using our railway? How safe is the Nigerian environment for business? How much is a liter of diesel? How much is a liter of PMS? How much is a kg of gas? So all of this going together will tell you that we are not a sincere government. And the investors you see coming to Nigeria, they do more of import and export. They import items into Nigeria, they sell all of them out at the wharf and any place, then they go back to their country. But real businesses that we see in those days where you have a Mobi and John, you have a Texaco, you have F, you have Total, you have Aliboti, you have Saipem. A lot of these companies they were in Nigeria. You are seeing the Doris Lombardia. They were all on Nigerian shore. You see them working, employing people in the morning. You see people in the morning going to work and come back in the evening. But today, what they do, they look at what Nigerian market needs. They import them, even at the wharf. They sell off everything, make their profit, and they go back to their country.
Okay, so apparently your position is that the huge investment that we saw in the 9 months of 2025 is not making any impact in Nigeria. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kevin Ejumudu. We'll come back to you for your concluding thoughts. Meanwhile, let's come back to the studio where we still have Mr. Dele Fadimo. Dele, we hear that 141 million Nigerians will get into acute hunger in 2026. I want to create a scenario. I know that things are bad, but we see Nigerians living well too. You go to the airport, and in fact, the ticket, between here and the east, hovered between 250 and 400. And I know somebody who was built to travel to Imo State. He couldn't travel again because of fare and all of that. But when we got to the airport, it was a beehive of activities. How do we reconcile all of this? Affluence and lack in the same breath, in the same place.
The same way you would also interrogate why are Lebanese, Indians, Chinese coming to this country of lack, supposed lack, and they are ferrying away huge profit outside the country. You see, for me, it's everywhere. It is everywhere. There are poor people in the US, and we see them. There are some states that are still as backward as what we can see in an average African village. Now, what we are trying to say is that it's not an excuse for government not to push harder to make sure that life is more abundant for the citizens. And in doing this, there are two things that we should look at. One, if you are telling me to tighten my belt, make sure your tummy is not protruding. Conversely, against my own that is receding. Two, you also need to build strongly on infrastructure that will make businesses thrive. If we have uninterrupted power in this country, our problem is almost 60% solved. Because everything revolves around power generation, power distribution, and if we have power, I can assure you that 30% of those Okada riders, particularly those ones that are from the south, are not Okada riders, but they had to take that initiative to make ends meet. Some of them, if you interact with them, they'll tell you they are welders, they are electricians, they are artisans generally. But because they don't have power to power those equipment they use, they resort to riding motorbikes. So we are not saying that, but I still believe that that 141 is not
understated.
Is not
overstated.
It's overstated.
Okay, it's exaggerated.
It's exaggerated.
I was coming to that.
That's my belief. But to say that poverty is not in the land will be making excuses that are not tenable. People are finding it difficult to make ends meet. But there are steps being taken by government to ease this. For instance, at the turn of 2025, fuel was selling for between 1,200, 1,300 in some areas. The least you could get at some point was 1,200. But today, fuel is 739.
Okay.
And Dangote is saturating everywhere. When we were going home yesterday, we saw those CNG-powered trucks moving around Lagos, taking off Lagos to some other part of the country. So it will take time.
Okay, but because fuel is a common denominator,
of course,
for growth in the economy.
Of course.
Now,
when you go to the market,
when you talk about
food items,
okay,
had also recorded considerable drop in prices. As at somebody was saying, the type of rice.
But some will say the earning power of Nigerians has not improved.
You see, let me tell you, what is earning power?
Disposable income.
Yeah, I know. In relation to what is in the market, somebody that is earning 70,000 naira, which is the minimum wage, who goes to the market to buy a bag of rice, will need loan to add to the 70,000. But today, he buys a bag of rice off the market and still have some money left. Last week, I bought a bag of rice and it sold for 54,000.
Okay, let's say the person that earns 70,000 buys a bag of rice for 54,000 and he's left with 16,000.
Now, what I'm saying is that we are not there yet.
Okay.
But there's an improvement. Let's not just throw the baby with bath water.
Now, when you say that steps are being taken, steps like the new tax regime, how is it going to help us?
The reforms are coming up.
No, I'm talking about the tax reform.
The tax reform, a lot of interpretation and misinterpretation have been given to, even as I speak to you, I don't have a full understanding of this tax thing. But through my findings, through my research, I have noticed that it is what happens in other clients that is come, except that, Nigeria has a peculiar way of doing things. What can work elsewhere may not work in Nigeria. But from all indications from the tax reform laws, it is clear that rather than big men not paying taxes and poor people paying taxes, now the attention is now shifted to the rich.
Let's x-ray the role of NLC in all of this. NLC is also screaming that, look, 141 million Nigerians is a lot, and these tax reforms will further impoverish Nigerians, and we will not allow this. There's the other day we also talked about NLC talking about an increase in the minimum wage. Do you think that will solve any problem at all?
NLC,
or that will just worsen
NLC
things?
is an ICU. So I would rather take P2B's comment than that of NLC.
But both of them are saying the same thing.
No, I said I would rather. I'm talking about messengers.
If NLC insists on an increase in minimum wage,
it's not going to happen because there was a 3-year timeline between when the 70,000 naira was approved.
my English was, if they insist.
Let them go to the
If they
street and see
insist
how
on
many
an
people will
increase.
join them.
If they insist on an increase in minimum wage, will that in any way alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians or worsen the situation?
You see, for some of us in HR practice, we know that salary is the 5th in hierarchy of need of workers. What is the effect of increasing 200 to 250 that even before the payment is made, market women would also take advantage of it? But if you give transportation, for instance, if you throw out 1,000 buses that are convenient for Lagosians to the street and make the route that used to be 500, 200, it makes a lot of sense than saying you are increasing to 200,000 naira that will be eroded instantly before that payment is made. If you spread HMO, NHIS through the HMO to every Nigerian that they pay token and they can access hospitals where they will just pay 10% of the total bill, it makes more sense than saying you are increasing salary to 100,000 naira.
The problem is that
those are the things NLC should be tackling.
No, the problem is that the government is not doing all of this, and that is why the NLC and Nigerians keep asking for pay rise.
NLC has never asked for this. I was in labor movement for more than 10 years. I know. The only set of people that would say, we are not saying you should not do this, you should not do this, but provide this, is the TUC.
Okay. All right. Let's just get concluding thoughts. Let's go around, get concluding thoughts. Barrister Ezeliche, let's have your concluding thoughts in about 1 minute.
Well, thank you. Mr. Fanimon yesterday was just playing with words. I mean, he was just going up and down with words about the current price of stock. He forgets that by his pronouncements when he got into office, Mr. Tinubu skyrocketed inflation rates in the country to incredible levels. So what was fuel before Tinubu was sworn in? So the rising of the fuel up to 1,000 naira and then coming down to 700 naira is still a very high level for Nigerians. Likewise, all the foodstuffs, because upon his coming into office, Tinubu, by a very, very careless statement, skyrocketed the price of fuel, claiming that he was removing subsidies. And Nigerians have only realized that even more corruption, more graft is taking place in the system. Under Tinubu, a so-called 17 trillion naira was paid for 5 weeks, which is more than even the so-called subsidy that was saved from subsidy. So when you look at everything, you just know that these guys are just a bunch of characters who are trying to beat Nigerians. And we should be able to say no to all such crap, because they're all not coming to TV and trying to deceive Nigerians that there's some improvements. If somebody wants
you have your opinion to yourself, and I have my opinion to myself. You don't come on here to attack people.
This government has no interest in the welfare of Nigerians. Because if it had, it wouldn't have gone all this route. You talk of which road is it building? Upon coming into office, Tinubu awarded a 15 trillion naira contract for a so-called coastal road without even any formal processes. And we're talking of helping the Nigerians. No, we cannot deceive Nigerians on public television like this. We have to be very factual and say the truth.
Well,
and the truth is that this government is abysmally very poor.
You were to use 1 minute.
And we don't come here and relax and say, okay, it's all well with Nigerians. It's not.
All right,
it's not.
Thank you very much.
We know the balance of Nigerians.
Thank you. Kelvin Ejimodo, let's have your concluding thoughts as well in about less than a minute, please.
My take is the government keep playing politics with the lives and security of Nigerians, and gradually we are shifting into a failed state. And we all know what a failed state is. When we get to that point, it leads to anarchy. And instead of anarchy, anything can happen. Our government must be prudent. They must be proactive. They must ensure that lives and properties are placed on premium value.
All right.
You can't have our people, you can't travel from Jigawa to Castina, to Duse, to Borno, to freely on the road without going with your ransom money. And you say we have a renewed hope. There's no renewed hope anywhere. We are in renewed hopelessness. And until they call a spade, and stand firm with their policies and programs, Nigerians will keep wailing. And you know.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Kelvin.
It's an angry man. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Kelvin Ejimodo. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Barrister Eze Luche and also Dele Fanimo for your contribution on the program. Well, that's it on VOP this morning. Newspaper review comes up next. We'll be dissecting the stories from the dailies. I'm Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Join us again at 10.
And I am Chukwuma Okoro. See you again. Bye for now.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, The grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpelion. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not going to the talk, please the sport.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
King Jaja of Okpobo, whose full name was Jubo Jubora, was a prominent Nigerian ruler in the late 19th century. He was born in the early 1820s in the Okpobo region, which is located in present-day Rivers State, Nigeria. King Jaja started as a trader and quickly rose to prominence due to his entrepreneurial skills. He established a successful trade network that extended across the Niger Delta region, dealing in palm oil, palm kernels, and other valuable goods. His business acumen and leadership qualities earned him the respect and admiration of his people. In 1870, King Jaja founded the Okpobo city-state as a trading hub and became its ruler. He established Okpobo as a powerful economic and political entity, attracting traders from various parts of Africa and Europe. However, his growing influence and control over trade routes soon became a concern for the British colonial authorities. Tensions escalated between King Jaja and the British, leading to his arrest and subsequent exile to the West Indies in 1888. Despite being removed from his homeland, King Jaja's legacy as a visionary leader and influential figure in Nigerian history remains. His resistance against colonial domination and his contributions to trade and commerce continue to be celebrated.
The 2564 is coming up on Barney 9 right. The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more.
Hey guys, what's up? How you all doing? They call me Novisha Nelson One, your number one celebrity host, and you are watching Voice of the People Television, VOP. Stay tuned.
Uyi Osarite is my name. I am a friend of the microphone, Voice of the People TV. That name is unique, and the brand is very sweet. I like the packaging, picture qualities, camera qualities, and then of course, the quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. I talk and get paid, and I look forward to being in your studios.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV, live here in Benin City, the cradle of black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
Voice of the People. You can hear me now. My name is Patrick Doyle, and I wish that you continue to echo the voices of the people. Big up VOP TV.
My name is Su Ibifa Dokubo. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, my name is Kwekumali Ikenna Onyekwena, and I am with the Voice of the People TV. Now, if you're looking for the veritable channel for information, politics, robust discussions, you don't need to go far. VOP has you. VOP will always have you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Diabwa, aka Ibani Chuka. I'm Ayanabo the Eagle King, and you are watching VOP TV. Stay with us.
Well, thank you much for joining us again. This is Newspaper Review. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I am Chukuma Okoro. Thanks for joining us again.
And we have Daily Fanimo with us. Thank you very much for staying back.
My pleasure.
And yes, we will be going into the papers. Now, let's dive into it very, very quickly. We have a business day in front of us. The headlines here: Beyond the Billions, the real earnings of Nollywood producers. That's one of the headlines on the cover page of Business Day newspaper. And Rivers' fragile peace threatened as Fubara faces fresh impeachment. Fubara silent as coalition calls for Wike's removal. Doctors say official data cloud medical tourism spend. Fintechs push banking customer experience to new high as traditional banks trail. And of course,